Hey, welcome to Usually Wrong. Episode 49. This is with Aaron Kleiber. It's great. We'll get to him in just a second. These are some dates. You should come to them to see comedy. Organizing a show in Youngstown at the Youngstown Saxon Club. It's going to be great. Great line up. Great line up. We got Chris Scriva, Dan Ferrer, Joey Welsh, Kaylee Dumas, and good buddy Derek Knobsnyder, which is going to be great. Very excited for that. Doing Alex Tapiola's house show, the Not So Secret show. That is February 20th at, I believe, 8:30 p.m. You should definitely make your way out to that because it's going to be a blast. And hosting for Jeremy Piven March 22nd and 23rd at the Pittsburgh Improv. So come on out to that. It's going to be great. It's all great. Subscribe to the show. 5 stars. I would love for you to do that. I know I sound complacent with that right now and flippant, but you do not know how much that would mean to me if you did that. Thank you. I love you. You're great. You're talented. You're wonderful. You're insightful. You're very explorative for checking out podcasts about a guy maybe you've never met or heard about, or if you don't even like comedy. Thank you for listening. I'm so excited that you're here. And you will love that you're here too, because this episode is with Aaron Kleiber, who is wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful. He has given me, personally, so much great advice. He hosts a open mic / showcase at Pleasure Bar in the Pittsburgh area, which you should definitely come out to. From the people that I've talked to on this podcast, a lot of them, it was their very first open mic. So if you're thinking about trying stand-up, great place to start. Always a great crowd. Aaron is wonderful. He has toured with a whole host of people. He's been doing comedy for many, many years. One of the most talented, most hilarious guys in the city. And I love him to death. He has been so incredibly kind to me, as have most people in this scene. And he's a staple. He's a staple of the scene, and he's been absolutely wonderful to me. So I'm very, very excited for you to get to listen to this episode. So I got to get like a throat lozenge or something because I've been coughing all day. And good podcast. Enjoy. Usually Wrong, episode 49 with... That was not a good drum roll. Aaron Kleiber.
When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that and forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You will be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living. That is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
What the hell was I thinking?
So if you hold the mic right here, this is the perfect. I debated for like ever whether I should get a studio or should I just buy all my shit. And I was like, this is good, bro.
You're good.
Let's start from the beginning. How did you get into stand-up? How did you start? 'Cause you said 10 years.
Is that how we're starting?
We're starting.
That's how you're doing it?
No, you know what? Let's start with something else.
No, that's fine.
Nope.
No, that's fine.
Okay, I genuinely do want to know.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a loaded question because, I've been a goofy kid my whole life. So I was always the class clown. I feel like I told this story so many times that how should I change it? No, I really was just like the kind of formerly abused kid in school, and I moved into a predominantly urban neighborhood.
Okay. In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, in Homestead when I was 10, 11.
Okay.
And then I was like, I don't want to fight anybody to get along. Because when you live in a tough neighborhood, you got to, either fight or be funny. And
yes.
I just started being funny.
Did you know what stand-up was then?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I loved comedy.
From like elementary school?
I would say middle school, I really got into comedy from Saturday Night Live and In Living Color.
Okay.
So I just
Those
started.
seemed to just be the two.
Yeah, I watched Martin and In Living Color religiously. Like it was just so funny to me, and like whatever they did, I went to school and made all my friends laugh.
Yeah. Did you take them? When I was in like middle school and stuff, I
Yeah.
would take material from like, Dimitri Martin show was on when I was in middle school. I would take that
Oh,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
use it and tell
That's
my
so
friends,
funny.
like, you're
Dimitri
so
Martin was
fucking
on when
funny.
I was in middle school. Holy cow. I'm old as balls. Yeah, no, I was like, oh, my friends will think that's funny. And I would literally go in and do Homie the Clown. And I was like that crazy goofy white kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What-
But no, and then I was like, oh, I want more attention. So I'm going to start making videos. Oh, I want more attention. I'm going to start going
You started
out.
making videos.
Oh, I made tons of videos, in high school. And I was making just sketch videos and like
too.
yeah, dude, that's how I started, was like a filmmaker. Like I made like sketch videos.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
the same way. I would
Yeah.
make it started as like class projects in middle school and high
Yeah.
school, and then was like, friends of mine were telling me you should go into that, and then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's no money in that. That was my mentality end of high school. So you know what I did? I became an architecture major, and after one semester, I realized I couldn't draw. So
Yeah.
I got into finance.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I I like the attention, so then I was like, oh, I can also get on stage and do plays and musicals, so I did that. So I did all that stuff, and then I actually went to school my first year for film and acting at Point
Really?
Park.
No
yeah.
kidding.
And when I went there, here we go. I went there in the fall of 1999. I graduated in 1999.
High school,
What year were you born?
93.
Yeah, I was. I graduated high school in 1999.
Okay.
So the fall of '99, the film program at Point Park was like, here's how you cut 8mm film.
Oh my
and
God.
here's a black and you want to
Yeah.
film a black and white 16mm film? It'll cost $10,000.
This is the dumb millennial saying, "Oh my God, that's crazy."
Well, it was interesting because like I'm still kind of I'm on the very edge of like Gen Y, Gen X kind of thing.
Okay.
So and it's that weird period of 1998 to like 2004. That's like, are we millennials or are we Gen Xers?
Right.
I was in that class of people where like I went to high school with people that were like millennials, but then also some of my class was like just like 90-year-old people. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
It's a weird mix. But anyway, a mix of generations. But
I don't know the generation, like the schedule.
well, I went to
of all
school for that, so that's why I studied all that dumb stuff. But I'll tell you that in a second. You're like, wait a second, you said film and acting.
Yes.
No, I realized that it was so boring that all the acting was Shakespeare, and I was like,
Oh, God.
I want to be Chris Farley. I want to be Bill Murray. This is stupid.
It wasn't comedy.
No,
acting.
like
No.
I thought I was going to learn how to just be an actor, like and it was just like plays. And,
Yeah.
It's like what you've never read Mammoth, or you know what I mean? I was like, huh? I was like, Glenn Ross. I saw that.
Yeah, it was like High and Mighty.
Yeah,
acting, right?
I loved movies, loved film, and I loved comedy. So
Okay.
like I wanted to be Mel Brooks. I wanted to be the Farrelly brothers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I wanted to write and star in my own movies. I wanted
Right.
to be funny. And that was the acting part, which sucked. And then the film part, like I said, with the year that it was all old reels.
Yeah.
And I came from making movies with my friend Chris Prexta. If people
Yeah.
know Pittsburgh,
Of course, yeah.
Chris Prexta created Pittsburgh Dad with Kurt Wooten, and we go way, way back.
You were doing it with him.
Yeah,
in
me and
Point
Chris
Park.
Prexta were filmmaking partners in high school.
No shit.
Yeah, we made all kinds of fun, award-winning stuff together
How did you make the films in high school then?
with Video Club. That's
Oh,
how
okay.
That's how I learned how to edit and shoot and
No
everything.
kidding.
Yeah, Video Club, and then I was the senior producer for my senior year there, like for the television studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did all that stuff. And then I went to school to make movies. Me and Chris did, and it was all 8mm films. And we were already getting into, this is it's odd to think, but we were involved in like this huge church.
Okay.
We were in this church, like we did kind of youth programs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. We came from that program.
My dad's is also a minister.
Well,
so
okay,
I
you know
get
youth
it.
group talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we were the guys that made funny sketches and videos for the big church.
Absolutely.
So they had Adobe Premiere editing system that they bought us.
No kidding.
So we were the only
church bought you.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was a
that's
big
fun.
church. Yeah. So we were the only people that we knew that were using, linear editing. Like
Yeah.
we were editing on computer, and like our college was like telling us to like go in a dark room with a razor, and I was like, this is dumb.
That's
like,
backwards.
Yeah, and we were already using, like 3-chip cameras, and so we were all using digital mini HD
Yeah.
cameras and stuff like
And this
that.
is 99?
Yeah, 99, 2000. So we were like, well, like F film school because
Yeah.
this is dumb. And me and Chris were like, we could take the money that we're using for school and go make an independent film. Because I got obsessed with Robert Rodriguez. His beginning was around then.
Oh, okay.
Robert Rodriguez did
I don't know a lot.
El Mariachi and Desperado.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And From Dusk Till Dawn. And
Gotcha.
the Spy Kids movies and whatever. He's done more
It's sad
stuff.
that I know the Spy Kids movies the most.
Of course you do.
those.
Of course you do. You were born in like 2009.
That's exactly.
But so he basically wrote a book called Rebel Without a Crew, and
Okay.
it is how he made his first movie with like nothing.
Interesting.
And so me and Chris Prexler were like, okay, we're gonna go make our own independent film called Captain Blasto, and we raised $7,000, and we're in 44 film festivals and won tons of
God
awards.
damn.
Yeah.
That's so funny because you think
That's how we started.
because that
Yeah.
seems like such a modern idea where somebody could take an iPhone and film a movie. Like there's been independent films that have been done that era 99. It seems like that would be impossible.
It was the beginning of that.
It was the beginning.
We were
of
in
that.
we were the first people too to have like a web. We were one of the first handful of people that had a web series on YouTube.
No kidding.
Yeah, like there was people didn't know what a web series was,
Wow.
and we did that because we didn't sell our movie. So yeah,
Huh.
we did this Captain Blasto movie. There's so much. Like we could talk for 5 hours.
Yeah.
My biography is exhausting. it's
But when did you actually?
like I'm only like 20 at this point,
You're only exactly.
Yeah.
You're only 20. When did you?
and I'm going to a different college now.
When did it shift between you being a fan of comedy and actually loving the art of creating it? Was it in high school when you were making films with
I mean,
Chris?
dude, yeah, making sketch videos. I mean, and doing characters I did characters. I did characters on the morning news.
Oh my
we
God.
we filmed morning news, and I would go on as like, I'd be like,
You were like a big star from the beginning.
dude, I loved attention, dude.
Yeah.
I was a kid that was
I get it.
abused for 10 years, and then was a latchkey kid, like
Interesting.
in the projects. So like, I just watched movies and comedy and cut up in the neighborhood. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So comedy has been my survival technique for my whole life.
Survival technique.
Absolutely.
In terms
I
of.
know that now,
Yeah.
for sure.
You used it as an asset.
Yeah,
I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, you grow up and you start learning, know thyselfing,
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I was surviving. I was trying to make my childhood happier. Yeah.
So you used it as a defensive
Attention, yeah.
mechanism, but did you use it ever at that time as an offensive mechanism? Meaning things like the best example I have is going on dates. Was comedy something that you could use in that aspect?
Honestly, I've always seen myself as not a very skilled person. I'm all personality, baby. I could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
Oh my God.
Tommy boy. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, I've personalitied my way into careers that I didn't have any experience in.
Yeah.
That's like somewhere later in the biography.
Okay. So we get out of college. What's the first thing we're doing right after?
Well, I made an independent film. I traveled all over the country with that independent film, and I transferred to a college named called Geneva College. It's north of
absolutely.
Pittsburgh, and I went there and got degrees in theology and a degree in adolescent ministry and counseling.
Really?
Yeah. So
How much do you use that now? Do you still feel like you use it? And that's not like of course. Like I'm curious.
Nah.
Like, do you use any of that?
I believe that all of everything I learned about building relationships in ministry has helped me in comedy.
I bet.
It absolutely
It's a similar
has.
skill set.
It's just I have no problem with just loving people.
Yeah.
In normal life or like,
Right.
So yeah, you just,
And
like my whole comedy motto is I always like, if you want to put the theological spin to it, now all the comedians roll their eyes at me right now. I'm sorry you don't have a fulfilling background.
oh my God.
No, people roll their eyes when
get
you
it.
start talking
I
about
get it.
religion, but no, it was
This
like,
whole podcast can be a religion
yeah,
podcast.
that's
honestly.
fine. My comedy motto is be kind, be funny. And I think Jason Clark even talked about
Something like that. I've heard the same
yeah.
thing.
Be
Keep
kind,
your
be
head
funny,
down and
that's
be
my
kind.
2 greatest commandments.
Yeah.
For my career is be kind and be funny. Like as long as you're a good person,
Right.
and as long as you do your job on the mic, you'll be fine.
I completely
That's all you
agree.
can do.
I've heard horror stories of people who not horror stories, but people who have lost out on careers in Hollywood for just not being somebody that they want to work with.
Yeah, if you're an asshole, you better be really funny.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. So yeah. So that's yeah. So I went to college, and then after college, I got a job. I was working at a huge church. I was working in the youth ministry department, and under kind of like a creative role. And I worked there with Chris Prex as well, and we were basically in charge of entertaining thousands of kids every week because it was a huge mega church that had thousands of kids.
That's fun?
Yeah.
That
so
fun.
my first live performing besides high school like variety shows and musicals and plays was basically me with a microphone in front of 700 high school kids.
Hot damn.
Yeah. And then I worked for camps for years just doing the entertainment. I just basically did Saturday Night Live every weekend for 500 at-risk youth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking like gangsters, like kids coming in like from my neighborhood almost.
Yeah.
And like, where I grew up, so it was kind of easy to talk to them because I was like, I've made you kids laugh my whole life. Like,
yeah.
I was making, so yeah, so I was doing camps and like I was in charge of, I was the programmer, like the cruise director.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just doing upfront games and sketches and videos and
but that's what I'm
making
saying.
Characters. It was the blast. I was doing for 7 years. I did Saturday Night Live for high schoolers like every fall.
You're paying it back. You said for the first 10 years of your life you were abused.
Yeah,
you're giving it back to kids who might be in a similar situation.
Well, I think originally
Do you
why
think of it that way?
Yeah. No, I mean, I changed majors and went to school for, ministry and counseling to teenagers because someone helped me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was a little piece of shit robbing cars and, selling things and stealing stuff. And I met, that's kind of where I met Chris Prex. Was like going to like youth group.
That's so fun.
And I was like, oh, these guys are fun. Like they make videos. I like to make videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got quote saved in an all black revival in Homestead.
Really?
Yeah. And then and so a couple years later when I was like, you know what? I don't want to go to school for film and acting. I'm going to just get a degree in something to help kids like people help me.
That's great.
That's why I went to school like that and did that.
I can't tell you how many great memories I have with youth group.
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was all of my friends on one day. We're not going to do anything bad. We're not going to do anything illegal. We're just going to enjoy presence with each other and make stuff too. I made a ton of videos.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Stuff with, admittedly, I had what I used. I used iMovie.
Yeah. Of course you did.
It was easy.
I know when iMovie came out, I was like a grown adult, and I was like, "This is too difficult."
Easy.
Yeah. But no, man. Yeah, I mean, sure. I just and no matter, and even when I was into ministry, I still fell into that. Oh, you're the funniest, most talented person at this stuff, so you guys are gonna do this,
Right?
Or we wanted to, like we got a budget, like we got a budget to make costumes and make videos. Like
That's
it was
so fun.
It was nuts. Yeah, it was fun.
But you're in a similar
And that was-
career, right? It's
Yeah,
the same
absolutely.
skill set.
And no matter what, I was still a creator. Like I was
Yes.
still. I think that's Yeah. So I mean, that was my chops too. Like
Yeah.
that's. Let me tell you something. When I started doing stand up, I would think back to the 400 like tough kids who would walk into a huge conference room, and I'm backstage like, all right, time to make these kids laugh.
Showtime.
Yep. And let me tell you something, man. When you walk into a room and, and this is just life. Like when you walk into a room and there's 400, high school kids and 350 of them are black kids from tough places. And I'm this like chubby white kid. You know what I mean? So when I started doing stand up, a bunch of adults, I was like, you're nothing. Like this is nothing.
Yeah.
This is nothing. Like, it's like to entertain kids who already don't like you and they don't
you
even
went
know,
through
like,
the ringer already.
Yeah, and I was like 19, and I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm hilarious. But that's my chops.
That's it too.
Yeah.
But again, it's a similar.
So when I
skill set.
started stand up, I was like, this is
nothing.
this is easy.
This is nothing.
I don't want
And
to say
you
that.
can-
You know what I mean?
I understand. But
A bunch
you
of
can take
stand-ups just roll their
bombs
eyes at me.
A lot easier, right? Like you can take the heat a lot easier.
Yeah. I mean,
To a degree,
for me, it wasn't that. It was just I didn't have much fear at all. Like I was just like, I mean, sure, you're scared, you want to be funny, but I just was, I just trusted that I was funny. I came from improv. By the time I did stand up, I was doing improv for 12 years.
yeah,
Because I mean, everything I was doing on stage with kids and with camps and stuff, that was all
it was improv.
improv and sketch. That's what I was doing.
I look at it at my dad. I've seen my dad give literally like probably 2,000, 3,000 sermons in my life.
Yeah.
That is an art form. I've always thought
Absolutely.
of what he does as
There's a lot of people after shows, especially when I'm down south, and they go, "You sound like a preacher."
oh my God.
And I go,
bet.
"Really?" But it's weird. People say that, and I don't know why. But
Yeah.
they just.
But my dad
just
got
do.
to test out a new 20 minutes every single week that he wrote every single
It's true.
week.
Think about that. I know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
My youth pastor would do the same exact thing. He would test out a new half-hour sermon every
Yeah. Preaching is
material.
preaching is straight up doing 20, 30-minute talks in front of a group, a different one every week.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
A crowd who is looking for something.
You never
too.
think of people that do that as that kind of art.
No.
Because some of them are very funny, some are very engaging, some of them, read like wet cardboard, and are research heavy, you
Right.
know. And please tell us more about the Aramaic. Nobody cares, okay?
That is true.
I know.
And you have to keep somebody's attention too.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you have to make them feel something
Yeah.
visceral. When my dad gave really good sermons, I felt something that he either taught me something or I felt
Sure.
something that I've never felt before. And I feel the same way with comedy.
Yeah.
The last special that I can really think recently that made me go, holy fuck, this is
Yeah.
amazing, was Rory Scovel's special on Netflix. Have you seen that? It's my
Rory-
favorite special of all time.
Rory is
I
so
love
funny.
it.
He, I've worked with him a couple times. He's so nuts. Like,
Yeah.
because like, you see him walk on stage in that special. Doesn't he immediately go to like butt fucking or something?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, and you can feel people in the room like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is the matter with him? And but then I'm like, oh no, Rory was like this 10 minutes before this
Yes.
backstage with his friends.
I bet.
He's bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's bananas, and he's so funny.
But he's himself on stage. Do
Yeah.
you think you are yourself on stage? Let me answer first. I would say no for me. I'm 2 years in. I still feel like I'm doing my best impression of a combination of
Yep.
John Mulaney, Mike
Yep.
Birbiglia, and Pete Holmes.
Yep,
And
you're
that
right.
creates Nate Nolte.
You are probably very correct.
Yeah, and that
My first like couple months of stand up, I felt like I was doing an impression of a stand up comedian.
yeah,
Until I was like writing jokes on index cards, and I was trying to like remember jokes, and I'm like, I can't do this. I don't understand. Like, I just, it was fine because I got up there and I still improv'd my way through things, and
right.
and I just didn't understand until another comedian explained to me, like, you're an improv guy, you're a sketch guy, like you come from comedy, you're probably not good at remembering what's on a card.
Yeah,
I was like, nope, because even when I did plays in high school and musicals, I didn't remember shit. I didn't remember anything until like the dress rehearsal,
wow.
and that was very frustrating to everyone around me.
Yeah,
But no, I just was like, this isn't working. I can't memorize words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a comedian, I did a movie with Brian Callen. He's from like Mad TV, and now he's
I know the
he's
name.
like Chris D'Elia's friend rival. If you guys
okay.
are, yeah, very funny. But yeah, Callen was like, dude, he goes, you're an improviser. He goes, you need to go do stand up and write on stage and improvise. And I was like, huh? And
Yeah.
he was the first person to explain to me, like, I always use this joke, and there's probably comedians I've told this to 50 times in Pittsburgh that are listening to me say this, because,
we have listeners outside.
Aaron
Pittsburgh, I
has all
promise.
sorts of stand-up nuggets of stories and advice,
10
and that
years.
people have heard them. So excuse me, everyone. But no, I took a joke that I was afraid of spiders. It's a very early joke that never survived.
Okay.
But he was just like, dude, you go on stage, and for 5 minutes, your challenge is to talk about why you're afraid of spiders for 5 minutes.
Oh my
He's like,
God.
that's your improv suggestion. And when I started doing that, it blew my mind, because I was like, my mind, like, I just couldn't stop. And
Yeah.
it just was like, I was just letting that improv muscle just kind of say whatever came out of my head.
Yeah,
And,
but you learned that from the last how many years you were doing
Yeah.
videos in improv?
Yeah, when I correlated like how improv was going to help me with stand up, like I remember it clicking so clearly.
yeah,
Like, I'm like, oh, I am funny.
yeah,
Like, this isn't any different than what I've been doing.
yeah.
It's just I'm going to do it again. So like I would go improvise something, and I'm like, oh, I should remember that part. Like,
Oh my
I went
God.
my first 2 years of comedy asking comedians in the back of the room what I said.
That's
so like,
hilarious.
because I came up with Danny Palumbo. Danny Palumbo, who's in
Yes.
LA now, was in Austin for a long time. After Pittsburgh, we came up together the same exact day. Like,
Wow.
We both showed up to our first open mic. Well, not our first open mic, but like the first week like a couple weeks of doing stand up, we met at the Smiling Moose, and we were like,
my
"What's up, dude?
God.
What's up? Oh, cool Beastie Boys shirt. I love the Beastie Boys. You want to be best friends?" Like that was it. But no, I would always get off stage at like the Smiling Moose and be like, Danny, what did I say about two grandmas fist fighting? What the hell was I talking
That was
about?
before you could record it.
They were
too.
laughing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I tried to using different recorders, and you'd always like run out of batteries or like not record the whole thing. Or,
Right.
So I just didn't even bother.
Yeah.
So there's so many jokes I probably did that I don't even remember, and they were probably good. I have no idea.
That's so fun.
But yeah, so once I started doing that, and then to this day, that's how I just go talk as long as I can.
Yeah.
If I have an idea.
That's such a great idea I've never thought of, though. Because I feel like I'm in my head a little bit on stage. Not a little bit.
Oh,
a
you're
lot
always in
of
your
it.
head. When I'm
Wow.
on stage, I have 3 different conversations.
That's fun.
I have 3 different voices in my head. Like, yeah, it's pretty neat.
Right. But do you do a lot of hosting anymore? I mean, you host Pleasure Bar, but like,
yeah. My longest running show is at Pleasure Bar
yeah.
every Tuesdays in Bloomfield.
Oh, I'll plug it. It'll be in the bio.
Yeah, dude, thanks. That's the one thing I just said last night. That's the one thing I'll host, at Arcade,
Right.
Whatever. I don't mind getting on stage. I always say, like, if you can't host, you can't headline.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's a skill that's very good to have.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, some comedians, they don't have that personality. Well, okay, good luck.
Yeah.
At least figure out the way you can at some point. You're not just going to wait around to be a headliner.
Yeah.
It's
It's a ranking system, it seems like. Once
a
you
little
get
bit,
good
yeah.
at hosting, you can feature, and then you headline.
I think hosting is just a really good skill that you learn to just get more comfortable, and and also if you want to do shows, being a good host really, really helps.
Yes.
Like I'll compliment Jason Clark. Jason Clark's an incredible host.
Yeah.
And so is Sean Collier. Really good hosts. And I try to be a really good host because you set the precedent for everything.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you set the tone of the entire night.
But when I host at Pleasure Bar, I call it my Steve Martin night. I just goof off. Like I try to be as silly. Last night I had so much fun. I was just silly as hell.
Are you always trying to be silly on stage? I've gone
Yeah.
on stage
Well,
the last
yeah, I'm doing
3
comedy.
months being I just want to be goofy. I
Yeah.
just want to be a goofy person.
Of course I want to be silly. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely, you're right. I would say that, like, I get, like, there's times where I'm like, I just am gonna be silly.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make myself giggle.
That makes me laugh.
Yeah.
That makes me
I love
happy.
it.
Like that is what I want to do. There are comedians.
Arcade is the most fun place to do that.
I would agree with that.
Because
I just had a great set on Saturday.
everyone that comes to Arcade for stand-up shows, they committed to coming down, paying for parking, buying a ticket for $10, $12, and then sitting in a black box, stage room. That second floor at Arcade is
It's amazing.
such a good stand-up
It's
room.
amazing.
And they're all there to see comedy. They all committed, so they want to be there, and also they're coming to see a show. Maybe a couple people are like, oh, let's go see Aaron Kleiber, or what, but nobody knows us.
Right.
There ain't no superstars on this show. There ain't no super, like, people are just coming to see stand-up. So when they're game like that, I just go out and just, like, dude, one of my favorite things ever was a couple months ago. I closed one because I wanted to push through with new material because I did my album, my comedy special months ago, and I was just like, I'm gonna do 30 minutes, and I don't know what it's gonna be. I just memorized like 8 bullets of what maybe I wanted to talk about, and I did a half an hour of all new material, and I was like, yeah, and it was the crowd. It was Arcade.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And people are like, oh, you crushed with with new shit. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
it's the crowd. They're so good.
But it's
You know,
a
like-
crowded arcade, so then
Yeah.
you take that to somewhere else in town or somewhere else
Yeah.
in the country. It has to be the skill and the art form to be able to take that and let it not just be the room, but you
Yeah.
can take that same
Yeah,
type
sure.
of style anywhere, right?
I mean, sure, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. It's fun trying to get an audience because now, like, I'm kind of in this comedy purgatory where a lot of the A rooms, Funny Bones and Improvs around the country, I'm the split guy. So a split comic is when you go to different cities where they have A rooms where famous people are headlining.
Okay.
And you headline Thursday and Sunday and feature on Friday and Saturday.
Oh, okay. I
So
understand.
I'm in that purgatory because I'm not famous enough to sell a whole weekend.
right.
But they want me to headline,
I gotcha.
and then open for the famous person on Friday and Saturday. So I'm in split purgatory right now
I gotcha.
until I get 100,000 Instagram followers.
What are you at now?
I don't know.
Who cares?
I don't know.
I care.
Oh, trust me, they care.
I bet they do.
Oh,
Yeah.
they care.
Well, that's the thing now.
That's
is
why you
it's-
look at comedy club calendars and you're like, how are they doing comedy? Wait, how are they doing that? Oh, they have 200,000 Instagram followers.
Understand.
That's a thing.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
it's how you market yourself too,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
I have 159.
The cream will rise to the top. It's fine with
We're
me.
trying.
I always say like social media numbers. Sorry, we're all over the place. I talk and
No,
post it. I talk
this
and
is
post
what I
notes
want. I just feel
everywhere.
bad we have to cut at 3, and that's my
No,
fault.
that's okay. No, we're okay. We can talk about whatever you want.
Okay, I want to know about kids.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so did you listen to? You did listen to the episode with Jason. Jason took me to
Sorry.
school.
I was like thinking
a
real
lot.
quick. I was like, what conversations do we have open? Okay, go ahead.
Jason took me a lot to school, a good bit with the kids conversation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've said 40. Your episode like 48. I've said 47 episodes in a row that kids scare me because I have to subdue and exactly whenever he kind of explained it, kind of made me laugh. But my question for you is, kids being so big a part of your life, having
Yeah.
more than one child.
Yeah.
How do you compartmentalize that? I'm fine with having kids and doing comedy now, but I think of my brain sometimes as RAM. I can actually focus on maybe 2 or 3 things in my life.
Yeah.
Career, comedy, and girlfriend. And that's it. How do you actually compartmentalize?
That's about
and
it.
Is that it?
Career, comedy, girlfriend. Yep. That's about. Yep.
Yeah.
That's my priorities. My whole life is my comedy career and my family. That's it. That's all I do.
That's all you care about.
That's it.
That's great.
There's not. What else is
That's
there?
I agree with.
What else do I have to
That's
care
what
about?
I'm saying. I'm agreeing with.
Yeah,
you.
I what I do for a living, it fulfills me. So, and what I do for a living also pays my bills,
Yes.
and then that all in turn helps my family because I'm doing what I love. Therefore, I'm a better father and a husband.
Right.
I'm not banging my head against a cubicle every day, or banging my hand in a hammer every day. So I feel great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so that makes my family life better too.
Do you
if
ever
you're
s-
doing what you love, your family's in a better place.
Do you ever struggle with one of those things taking up more time than it really needs to?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel that constantly.
Yeah, I try to balance that. I learned from some pros early on. I learned from some really some legitimate like world renowned fathers like Bob Saget,
Yeah.
and like Jim Brewer and John Witherspoon, and I mentioned those guys, and I'm not name dropping whatever comedians
Yes.
rolling their eyes. No, but I was very blessed and fortunate to work with huge names in the 10 years I've been doing comedy, that I've toured with people that taught me so much.
Right.
And one of the things is being a dad and a husband from those guys. They
Yeah.
all have spoken to my life about being a good dad and husband and doing comedy. And one of the main things was to don't miss anything. Don't miss what you don't want to miss. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I
And
get that.
so, hearing those guys tell me, like, you don't know what it's like to miss your daughter's 10th birthday. You don't know what it's like to miss Christmas morning because your flight got delayed.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that. Don't do that. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, I've had comedians, and then going back and going even further with that, the whole first half of my Grown Dad Business podcast, which the second half is I call like AD and JC,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Jason Clark came around,
Yeah.
episode like 70 something.
Is that long into it?
Yeah. We're at 144
I
episodes.
know you're into it. Yeah.
Yeah, my first 60 episodes were with celebrities. They were with comedians that I toured with and opened
okay.
for. So I got to talk to people like Bobcat Goldthwait,
Wow.
and Paul Rodriguez
Wow.
and Brad Williams, and a bunch of comedians of how they grew up, and that was the basis of my podcast to begin with. It was really like, give me dad stories and parenting stories, and I thought that was cool. But Paul Rodriguez, if you know him, he's one of the comedians that really, besides Freddie Prinze Jr., really brought Latino comedians into the forefront. I mean, he like skyrocketed in the 80s. And him talking about ruining his relationship with his son, that's one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded. Go listen
Yeah.
to my Paul Rodriguez
I
episode.
will,
I mean, I'm
absolutely.
sitting there like my mouth agape, like, holy crap, like he's really opening up about being a terrible father.
Yeah.
Like it was, so you hear about all that stuff, but those other guys, they were just like, don't miss your kids. Like, you're gonna regret it. I'm telling you, Like, don't miss your anniversary. Make sure you take care of that stuff because, if you don't, the things that are important. So now, like, I don't book weekends when my kids have birthday parties. I just don't. I don't miss Halloween. I do not miss Easter morning. I missed Easter morning twice, and I hated it.
Yeah.
Like that, like I was in the car Easter morning driving home.
Imagine that.
And like, great, my kids, my little babies have to wait. Like, I remember it was like my 5-year-old, my 3-year-old have to wait until 3 p.m. to get their Easter baskets.
Yeah.
Because daddy's not home. Like, I was like, nope, never again.
Yeah.
Never again. So like, I might be out thousands of dollars a year because I keep those weekends open. And now that I have 3 kids, I'm like, son of a, now I have 3 weekends. Like, but we have like a family birthday party for my kids and, on a Sunday or something. I don't miss that.
Worth it.
I don't. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's worth, those guys told me, they're like, it's even the bigger you get, it doesn't matter. They're like, at the end of your career and you say, I spent throughout my career $100,000 to be at every single one of my children's birthdays.
Yeah.
To take them trick-or-treating, to see them open their Christmas presents, to see them find their Easter basket. Is that worth $100,000? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm so happy I am hearing this. And there are things in my life I'm so happy I just thought about before
Absolutely,
something
man.
happened.
Yeah.
But it's not even comedy. Take comedy out of it. It could be anybody's career, any parent's situation.
Well,
right?
you already understand the concept of being self-reflective.
Yeah.
That's very prominent
I think so.
in your upbringing.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, it's 2:54.
You're okay.
Are you
we
sure?
We can keep talking.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I moved some minutes around.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
For me being an asshole. And
No.
not giving you an address until.
Listeners, I texted Nate. I was like, hey, bro, where am I going? Because I'm in my car, and I don't know where I'm driving.
I could have sworn I gave you the address.
It's okay.
You're the first one I've done that to. I get a lot of comedians who will go down this road and hit the Dunkin' Donuts and then come back too.
I live on Google
Where?
Maps.
I do too.
My wife always says, she's blown away. She's like, I don't know how you just drive 9 hours and then find where you're going. And I'm like, Google Maps.
Yeah, Google Maps. It's
But
fine.
you just travel so much that like Google Maps is my kit to Knight Rider. I came out when you were negative 14 years old.
Yeah, I've never
That's
seen
okay.
Knight Rider.
Yeah. All the dads are like, oh, yeah.
You're a big
right.
wrestling fan too, right?
Not really.
No?
No, not really.
I don't know why.
I've been
I
talking about
pleasure
wrestling
by-
a lot
I
lately.
Okay.
Oh, no. What's funny is because when we used to have pleasure bars on Monday, Tuesdays is now SmackDown, I realize. No, I got into wrestling because while I'm running my show, all the comics are out in the
on.
bar watching Monday Night
Wrestling.
Raw.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into it.
Right.
I didn't even...
It's so funny.
I just
I don't
found
know
out...
why I thought you were the biggest wrestling.
No,
comic
I
fan
mean,
in the city.
no, that's like Sean Collier, Jeff Conkle, Zach Funk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt Light's a big.
Oh yeah,
wrestling
Matt's
fan,
a huge
too.
wrestling fan. Yeah. Matt works for a wrestling company.
Does he?
Yeah, well, they started that
He's doing
thing.
a fight too.
Oh, I don't know.
He's doing a
I
fight.
don't pay attention.
I don't pay.
I just
see it
know.
on
I know he was
Instagram.
working for like Black Craft Wrestling or something, starting a
Okay.
wrestling thing.
Okay, I might
But,
have known that.
But no, I don't. Yeah, I mean, wrestling's fun.
I went to my first Penguins game yesterday too.
First?
First.
Oh my God.
You know who I saw there? I saw Colin Chamberlain there.
Oh yeah, he went with his dad.
I was going with my dad too. We were both waiting
You
for our
guys
dads.
should all
It was
hugged and kissed.
Sweet. It was so sweet.
Well, anyway, I never went to a Penguin game with my dad because I don't have a dad. Next
Okay.
question,
Oh,
Nate.
I'm sorry.
Kidding.
You know what's weird? I noticed hockey. To me, sports is. It's almost like a play. Like I've never seen the hockey game come out and everything, but they're like, and here are your Pittsburgh Penguins, and they came out and they like skated around the rink a little bit. I'm like, I feel like I'm watching a circus.
They do that everywhere.
I know, but it's
In
a
football,
play.
they run out the tunnel. In basketball, they do almost similar to hockey, where they have like a little spotlight on the players, and they're like starting at guard.
I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it just feels like I think of people so serious about sports, and
Yeah.
then people are running out there like
Yeah.
I'm all happy to be. If it was really serious, it would just be the game, 60 minutes, we're done, we're out of here.
But it's
But there's
entertainment.
pageantry. To
It's
it.
it's entertainment.
That's
They have
what
to make
blows my
millions off
mind
of it.
about it.
That's why we should do that in comedy. Like it was always funny. Like I used to do. Remember I told you Pleasure Bar Comedy Sauce is my Steve Martin hour. So like I haven't done this lately. I'm gonna do it next week. I would intro all the comedians as like a certain theme. So like
that's
I would give people like wrestling intros, or my favorite is Def Jam intros. I would introduce people and also tell them their future album they're gonna make. Just kind of like half roasting.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I like that's Pleasure Bar for me is like hanging out with new comics and old comics and my friends, and that's my one thing a week that I love doing that keeps me connected to the scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You make it an evening.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's nice sometimes too when I'm on the road all weekend or something. I just drove like 9 hours and go see my family, and then I just get to go Pleasure Bar and goof around on the mic and hang out with comedians and have a whiskey.
That's the best.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What?
you know what? I do want to ask you this.
You kept
I've
asking
not
me.
asked
You
this
wanted to
question.
ask me so much about kids, but I gave you my.
But you answered a lot of it. The only other one that I had was, do you think kids? What is this? Kids in entertainment. What did I think about?
I have no idea.
Do you think? Okay, I know what it is. Do you? Would you be excited if your kids had a career in entertainment?
Well, my son, since he was like 4, says he's going to be a comedian like Daddy.
That's fun.
But it's kind of a cute thing. Like we explain to my kids, like my kids think what I do, and it kind of is. They're like, our daddy goes and makes people laugh. Our daddy goes and makes people happy.
Yeah,
It's pretty rad.
that's the best.
Yeah,
thing
and my
I've ever heard.
my son's like, I want to make people laugh. Like he loves it. Like he tells his teacher, like I want to be a comedian, like my daddy. But the question is, like, I've had people ask me, like, they're like, oh, your kids are funny, or your daughter's very beautiful, and your son's really funny. Like, you should bring him to the audition, and blah blah blah. And even my agent has been like, dude, your kids are so photogenic, they're so cute,
Yeah.
they're very like open, and my kids are really fun kids. But I just decided not to send them on auditions because then my wife would have to deal a lot with that.
Okay,
So there's
fair.
things. It's the same reason why my son's not playing ice hockey. I played ice hockey a lot of my life. So.
Why?
Because ice hockey is a pain in the ass as a parent.
Oh, okay.
Like she'd have to take my 7-year-old son to practice on a Sunday at 8 a.m. in Mount
Yeah.
Lebanon. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my
Like,
God, yeah.
it's a nightmare. It's
Yeah.
the same reason. It was like, I don't need my wife, having to drag my kids to like auditions and have pageant moms there annoying
Yeah.
the shit out of her. It's just whatever.
I
If
understand.
my kids want to do it, they'll do it, which I think they will. I think one or all of my kids will probably be in plays and musicals.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee my oldest
Is
daughter
that
will probably
exciting
be.
to you?
I think it's fun that they're having fun. I think it's fun that they're. My wife and I have said we're proud that our kids are very expressive and they know their emotions. They're very, open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool that they're able to be like, yeah, let's get on stage and sing or
It seems like it'd be fun to me.
make people laugh.
It
yeah.
seems like it'd be really fun, and to have expressive kids like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Like I took my son on one audition, and because it was for the Mr. Rogers movie.
Okay.
And they were like, well, they want a real father and son, and it was a kid that played a sick kid in the movie. And it was like they're meeting Mr. Rogers, and they're filming it they were filming it in Pittsburgh. It's from Pittsburgh. It's like, oh my God, if I could be immortalized with my son in the Mr. Rogers movie with Tom Hanks, it's the greatest like Pittsburgh father thing ever. It's like
It's amazing.
yeah, and so we went and did it, and it turned out like my son was not sickly enough.
Oh my God.
It was that I don't want to sound mean, but that,
Yeah,
they're
I
looking for
understand.
certain things.
Yeah, I
and my
understand.
son looks too healthy. Like
That's such.
it's not mean, but it's
that's
just
not a
the part
bad
of the
problem
thing.
to have.
Yeah, no. Oh, that's not as bad as I've done auditions, and they were like, if you were a little bit lighter, we would pick you. And I'm like, thank you so much.
Fuck that.
No, that's showbiz.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
that's showbiz. I know who I am. I'm a chubby dad. I get it.
You own yourself.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
So this is the last question I have for you.
Okay.
I want to say on camera, thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah, dude.
I'm very excited.
Yeah,
to
man.
have
I'm
you
glad
here.
we can
So-
finally do it.
Okay, so I ask, did you listen to the whole Jason Clark episode? Did you get to this question?
Maybe.
I ask this for every question,
Maybe.
every guest.
That's okay.
I started dating a girl, Monica, about a year ago. Her friends asked me this question on the way into the relationship. I got the right answer, so I'll ask you. Aaron, you're
Okay.
at a bar. Night is going terrible. The bartender has poisoned the whole bar. Most of it. Some people stayed alive, though.
I see.
But there's also quicksand in the bathroom. It's swallowed up 5 or 6 Asian people. It's a very bad night. But it is also...
Racist quicksand.
Well, yes. But it's also karaoke
Racist
night.
Quicksand was the name of my first improv group.
Oh,
Kidding.
I just want to write it down because I save these, and that's my favorite.
That's my favorite game. I know I'm ruining your
I don't care.
question.
I don't care.
My favorite things to say
Put a
is
star next to it.
okay. So I try to I've heard other improvisers say that though. Like that was the name of my first improv group. That's a fun game to play.
Yes.
But the game that I play with all of my kids is you say something funny and we'll go. That was my nickname in high school.
I love that.
And when my 5-year-old says it, when my son was like 5, and you'd be like, chocolate strawberries, and my 5-year-old be like, that was my name in high school.
Oh, that's great.
And you're like, holy crap, that's funny.
I would always say new band name.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
I took it for Parks and Rec.
that's a good one. So anyway, the Asians are
but
dead.
But it is also karaoke night, and it's your job to save the entire night. What song are you singing?
Okay,
think about it. I don't care what you pick.
I
just
know
why.
that I do remember this now. I remember you asked Jason about this, and I always have a handful of karaoke go-tos.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. And
some in your arsenal.
one of the showstoppers I know that would turn the whole room is "Get On Up." Get up by James Brown. Get on up.
Offensive
Get
because
up.
people are dead.
Stay on the scene. What'd you say?
People are dead in the bar, so I feel like that's a little offensive.
No, they'll all rise.
Oh,
because
that's great.
The Holy Spirit of James Brown will anoint.
People ascend.
Yes. And then we have a full room of James Brown Lazaruses.
Much
see how
like
I brought it back to religious jargon?
Situation. I get it.
Did you see that?
I love it.
So it's either that or, depend on what kind of bar we're in, I might pull out Hungry Like the Wolf by Duran Duran.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not bad.
And just prowl towards people. Yeah. If you've ever seen that video.
Microphone? No, I've never seen the video.
I've never seen
the video.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know the song.
Great. Yeah, the video
I've never
is.
seen the video.
Watch the video. You will be like erotically disturbed, but also aroused.
Okay, I will. We'll do it after this. We'll pull it up. Okay, that's it. Do you have anything you want to plug?
I mean, just I have a podcast, Grown Dad Business. I do with Jason Clark.
You have a podcast?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, there's so much stuff going on right now. I mean, as we're recording, we joined River's Edge Radio. Our podcast is going to be on River's Edge Radio, Pittsburgh Internet Radio. Our stand-up Get Down, stand-up comedy game show monthly at Arcade Comedy Theater.
Yes,
we're bringing that.
Great.
We're bringing that back February 23rd. We're taking a month off because we are evolving the show.
Great.
So it is going to be.
It's always fun.
Very different than what you've seen in the last 2 years.
That's great.
We're making additions and subtractions, and it's going to be. I think it's fun. These changes to stand-up Get Down will be finally, I think, where I want the end of it to be, of what I want it to be, because I'm going to film it for a TV pilot as well.
That's great.
Yeah, and
that's amazing.
And then I just signed a book contract to write a book about farts with my kids.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm writing a book called "Farts Are Not Funny."
Farts are not funny,
but really they are. They are. You know what I
Is
mean?
that part of the subtitle?
Kind of.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm happy, man.
So yeah, I'm doing. I'm trying to just do fun stuff, and then also just keep being funny on stage, and it's doing all this other stuff, but then telling jokes on stage is what's paying the bills.
Just be funny.
Yeah.
Be kind and be funny.
Be kind, be funny. Yeah.
You get to sign us off, too. You get to say anything you'd like. I've had people insult me. I've had people swear at me. People say inspirational things. What would you like to say?
That's what I would go with.
That might be it.
Be kind, be funny. Yeah.
I love it. Thanks, Aaron.